Welcome to the 6th Annual MPC President's Address to the Community. I'm Lynn Davis, former Chair of the Governing Board and former President of the Foundation. I'm very honored to be your MC today. I think we have a great program for you. I'd like to thank, first of all, the MPC Student Jazz Combo. The MPC Foundation presents a special event today. The Foundation has a prominent role in matching donated resources with the needs of the college. I am proud, as I know many of you are, to be recognized as a President's Circle member, a Campus Circle member, or a Legacy Society donor. Thanks to all of you. This year, the Foundation was able to provide substantial funding for student scholarships, faculty and staff advancements, and instructional materials. I've been told that the Foundation this year raised $816,000 for MPC. On behalf of the college, we thank all of you. I would like to ask Robin Venuti, who is the Executive Director of the Foundation, to stand, and I'd like to ask all of the members of the MPC Foundation Board of Directors, would you stand and be recognized now, please? For the past 65 years, MPC has been changing the lives of our students and is deeply rooted in this community. On Saturday, October 6th, I invite you to join us at the 65th Anniversary Open House. You'll be able to see the current campus, you'll reconnect with old friends, there'll be a barbecue presented by the Alumni Association, and I'd like to thank Luke Phillips and Dan Albert for leading that alumni cause. It's brought back alumni to the campus, and it's raised substantial money for scholarships, so we appreciate their work. Now I'd ask you all to rise for the national anthem, which will be performed by MPC music student Lindsay Long.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Thank you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Please enjoy your lunch as I acknowledge some of our sponsors today. First of all, I'd like to acknowledge our premier sponsor, which is the Community Hospital of the Monterey Peninsula. They join, they, they join us in certainly recognizing Jay and Kip Hudson, and we appreciate that. Dr. Packer, thank you for your support. The bronze sponsors, or the silver sponsor we have for the third year in a row is Monterey County Herald. Our bronze sponsors, the First Capital Bank, the City of Monterey, Santa Barbara Bank and Trust, HGHB Architects, Kitchell Construction, Pacific Gas and Electric, Post Ranch Inn, and the Monterey Bay Soccer League. In your program, you'll also see that we have table sponsors, and you can read those. And we thank all of you for your sponsorships. We have with us today some, and I haven't really seen them come in today, but we have some of the prior recipients of the President's Award. And I do see in 2011, the awardee for the President's Award was Dr. Peggy Downs Baskin. Peggy, can you stand? Thank you. The year before that, in 2010, the awardee was Dr. Jim Tunney. Jim? There we go. In 2009, our awardee was Sherman Smith, and Sherman passed away later in 2009. In 2008, our awardee was Peggy Bates, and Peggy passed in 2010. And in 2007, the first awardee was Bert Catino, and Bert is, I'm happy to say, is in good health. But I don't believe he was able to make it today. The MPC Governing Board does the hard work of setting policy for the college, and I'd like to introduce the board now. The chair of the board, Dr. Lauren Steck. Lauren? Yeah, Lauren represents Carmel Valley and points south all the way to Big Sur. Charles Brown is the vice chair of the board. Charlie? CB, as he likes to be known, represents Seaside and Sand City. Marilyn Gustafson represents Pacific Grove and Pebble Beach. Marilyn. And Rick Johnson represents Monterey and Delray Oaks. I saw Rick here. Dr. Margaret Ann Carpernal is not with us today. She represents Marina. And we do have a student representative that represents all the students. He does a wonderful job, an outstanding young man, Daniel Cervantes. Daniel? We have some former MPC trustees that are here. I'd like to introduce them very quickly. Jim Tunney, we've introduced, and we'll probably introduce a number of times the way it goes with Jim. Jim was here 12 years. Jim Philpott is with us today. Jim served for 12 years on the board. Jim? Charlie Page, Mr. Lucky is here. He served 8 years. There he is. Jane Parker, Supervisor Jane Parker is here, served 4-year term. Thank you. And I don't want to miss anyone, but I did see a late arrival that walked in. Carl Polhammer served for 2 years, but he was an instructor for 40 years. Carl? We have a number, I think, of elected school board people here. I won't introduce you by name, but I'd like you to stand. Those of you from Monterey County Office of Education, Monterey Unified, PG Unified, or the Carmel Unified, would you please stand? These people do a tremendous job. There's Helen Rucker. Thank you. I guess the only one I saw stand was Helen Rucker, so I could have introduced him easily. We're pleased to have a number of our elected political officials with us today. From the city of Monterey, our mayor, Chuck Della Sala. Councilmember Libby Downing. The Superintendent of Monterey County Schools, Nancy Kotowski. I haven't seen him, but I think he's here. Our District Attorney, Dean Flippo. And of course, the Monterey County Board of Supervisors, Jane Parker. Probably have introduced everyone in the audience at this point. You may notice that we all have centerpieces at each one of your tables. These centerpieces are kind of the different faces of MPC. They're crafted by staff and faculty. So if you have any questions about the centerpieces, please ask the campus representative at your table. Enjoy lunch. We'll begin the formal program in just a few moments. To interrupt your lunch, but we do have a time schedule. We'd like to get you all back to your business of the day. Hopefully we can stay on time. We had a little delay when we started today, some technical problems. I accepted the assignment to MC today's event because we're honoring Kip and Jay Hudson, who I've worked with in nonprofit work for over 20 years. And I also have the opportunity to publicly introduce and acknowledge the contributions of Dr. Douglas Garrison, the contributions he'd made to this college. Doug announced his retirement from MPC after over 38 years of service to the California Community College system. Doug started as an English instructor at College of the Desert. He taught in England, Liverpool, under an award for the Fulbright Scholarship. And he was the Vice President and Executive Dean of Santa Rosa Community College, or Junior College, they call Santa Rosa still, when we hired him in 2006. Doug came to MPC at a time when we really needed a strong leader. He has transformed the public image of this college. He's overseen the building of the police and fire academies in Seaside, the rebuilding of our main campus, and the building of the Marina Educational Center. Doug also transformed the morale on campus. His interest in faculty, staff, students was evident from the very day he started work. Dr. Garrison treats everyone with respect, and he is respected. Transparency has always been important in his decision-making process. Doug always prepares a clear and complete analysis of the issues and a well-thought-out solution process. Doug has worked closely with the MPC Foundation. During his tenure at MPC, Doug has been the keynote speaker at weekly and monthly small donor cultivation luncheons hosted on the campus by the foundation. The luncheons have created not only friends for the college, but major donors. The MPC Foundation has grown in the strength of its board and its contributions to the college programs. Dr. Garrison is respected on a statewide level. He has served as the president of the Association of California Community College Administrators. He has acted as a tutor to aspiring administrators all over the state of California. Locally, he has served on the Workforce Investment Board, the Monterey County Business Council, and the overall Economic Development Commission, among others. In 2007, Doug announced he wanted to add this president's address to the community to his already full schedule. Doug wanted Monterey Peninsula residents to understand the importance of the college to the community. He wanted the community to be aware of that the college made improvements and was so important in the lives of our students and the benefits to the community. He wanted to highlight the achievements of our outstanding students, and he wanted to acknowledge the achievements of community leaders. Each year, this event has grown in stature and in numbers. In 2006, the governing board placed a great deal of trust in Dr. Douglas Garrison. That trust was well placed. I firmly believe Dr. Garrison will be remembered as one of, if not the most outstanding president in the history of Monterey Peninsula College, a history that goes back 65 years. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in acknowledging the great contributions made to MPC as I introduce our keynote speaker, Dr. Douglas Garrison.
Thank you, Lynn. Thanks very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. I feel like Stephen Colbert. Nation, nation. After an introduction like that, I think I should quit while I'm ahead. Any questions? Now, I want to welcome you to the 6th Annual President's Address to the Community. Rick Kennifer, when he came into the room today, said, boy, you know how to throw a party. And I think that when folks that I shared this idea with when I came thought about what it could be, they didn't quite believe me. And I look out now and I look at the support that each one of you represents for this college, and I'm really, really gratified. So today I want to take an opportunity to do a little looking back and looking forward, and provide some context for what has occurred since the last time we spoke, and then give you an idea of where we're heading. Please continue to eat. I do have 4 sons. I'm used to being ignored when I talk, and so I don't want you to miss your lunch, please. Last year at this time, I provided a context for my comments with this editorial that appeared in the Herald that was talking about the extraordinary times that were facing the college at that moment. It was a time when the college had announced the possibility of putting 12 instructors on a layoff list, at a time of looking at the very difficult choices having to do with relative programs that we would run. And in this opinion piece from the Herald, which I was very grateful for, they expressed support that, in fact, the belief that the administration and the board of MPC had was that we were trying not to eliminate programs, trying not to lay off instructors, and that we needed to come together in order to try to reach that common goal. And I'm very pleased to tell you that we did not lay off anybody. We did not eliminate any programs. And in fact, we hired 5 additional faculty. So we were able to come together and work our way through it. But as you might imagine, this required a very complex budget response. We didn't eliminate any programs, but we did have to reduce some of them in terms of their scope and their frequency of offerings. And while we avoided layoffs, we did have to experience some level of attrition, primarily in the faculty ranks, because we offered a retirement incentive program that gave individuals an opportunity to make an individual decision about what met their particular individual needs. We engaged in some reorganization and reallocation of our resources, which frankly was not altogether bad. It's said that the only person who enjoys change is a baby with a wet diaper. And that's certainly true for an institution as complex as Monterey Peninsula College. To ask people to re-examine how they perform their functions and how they establish their priorities is not an easy task. And yet people came together, and then they have really made some changes that have made us more efficient and more effective in using our resources while, in fact, protecting the integrity of our functions. We were able to avoid using any of our general fund reserve and therefore are still very fiscally stable, but we did contribute some one-time funds to try to offset the impact of the deficit that we were facing. And in the end, our employees came together and voted to take wage concessions that everybody participated in order to provide the opportunity to protect jobs and to protect programs. So this is an example why and how complex problems require complex solutions. This was in context to a very, very difficult and dynamic set of conditions for the state of California at the time. The state was facing a massive state budget deficit at that time of $25 billion. And in the end, it resulted in a reduction of $2.9 million in revenue to Monterey Peninsula College. A permanent reduction like that rolls into the next year as well. And what it did was reduce the number of students that could be served, and it resulted in some very, very hard choices. What courses should be retained? What courses are the priorities? Which can be reduced? Which can be limited in the frequency of their offerings? And as we went through those questions, it was very evident that there were no right answers. There were no clear answers, because for every answer that was posed, there was an equally compelling case to be made for the opposite. But in the end, we worked together and we came up with a response that has maintained the integrity of this college. We know that the community colleges must compete with all other tax-supported functions in our state. But at this point, for me then, a very important question that I want to share with you today has to do with the return on investment. The return on investment that you give in terms of your taxpayer dollars for a local community college. So to update you on our return on our investment, our ROI, here's some things for you to consider. Last year, we graduated 459 students and expect to award another 458 associate degrees on June 2nd. We also transferred several hundred students to at least 40 different baccalaureate institutions throughout the country without the benefit of an associate degree. And we awarded 97 career and technical certificates that have been developed to meet industry standards for direct employment. Plus, we provided skills upgrade training to thousands of incumbent workers who come to MPC to take one course, two courses, three courses, whatever meets their individual needs, but they don't culminate in an award. These are people like our sworn law enforcement and fire personnel that need to keep updated skills annually in order to maintain their certification. These are people like employees of your local businesses that want to come back to college to upgrade their accountancy skills or software skills or communication skills or whatever. And in the past 2 or 3 years in particular, we've seen an unprecedented number of workers who have needed to come back to MPC to seek new careers after having been laid off. And with the news that we just received this week of the layoffs in Capital One, MPC stands ready to provide an alternative for those people to be able to look for ways to do that. I had a conversation a few moments ago with Mary Ann Luffel from the Business Council. We stand ready to try to work with them to give them an opportunity for an alternative. In the end, what I want to share with you is that education equals wages, and wage gain equals economic development for our communities. Providing opportunities for further education is a strategic investment for the state and for all of you. This information is a bit complex on this chart for you to be able to read from your table, but I want to share with you what it says. This is from a report done in 2010 by the College Board from an exhaustive study called Education Pays. It demonstrates that education benefits both the recipient and the society in which they live. Individuals completing an associate's degree experience, on average, a 24% increase in annual wages over those who only have a high school degree. And that wage gain climbs to 65% if that individual completes a baccalaureate degree. Now, over a 40-year career, these differences account for over $300,000 more earnings for the associate degree recipient and over $800,000 for the BA degree recipient. But more importantly, perhaps, for you to think about, our society gains as well. The tax gain for these individuals is an important insight into the return on investment in our higher education system and into the return to a vibrant economy. Individuals with an associate degree pay 31% higher annual taxes than those with only a high school degree. And the tax gain grows to 83% more annually for the BA or BS graduate. Both the wage gain and the tax gain reflect positive returns on investment, and the lack of that investment reflects missed opportunities and unpaid taxes to support our social systems. These wages return to our communities in purchases of goods and services, and the taxes are distributed statewide to support social functions. And if you multiply these lost wages and lost taxes by all those students that were turned away by higher education reductions in the last couple of years in California, the result is over $1 billion of lost opportunity. And on a related thought, there's another study by Georgetown University that indicates that by 2018, only 38% of American jobs will be accessible to those with just a high school degree, while 29% of American jobs will require at least a community college education, and the remaining 33% will require a BA degree or higher. Our economy and the workplace are becoming more and more technical and more advanced, requiring increasingly advanced critical thinking and technical problem-solving skills, and we must respond. And MPC is responding. Despite the recent financial issues, we've been able to work with partners in the community through generous support of groups like the Monterey Peninsula Foundation that funded 40 students from our computer science programs that were able to visit the Cisco headquarters in Silicon Valley and another smaller startup firm called Zscaler to see firsthand their operations and hear from their career planners. This was led by instructor DJ Singh, who has developed our computer networking program, and this field trip is an important part of preparation for students who are seeking careers in computer science. Students completing our programs are being certified as Cisco Systems Network Engineers and by the Computing Technology Industry Association, or CompTIA, and these are preparing them for direct employment right here in our communities. Trips like this, along with the internships available through regional associations, are contributing to some high-performance success for students and for employment. And another option links MPC with our local high schools. Our automotive technology department sponsors an annual high school automotive technology competition where teams from regional high schools compete against each other to complete the same final examination requirements that are expected of MPC students that are taking the Auto 100 course. And this year's competition was the largest ever. We had 6 teams competing from Monterey, Seaside, Carmel, North Monterey County, Watsonville, and San Benito high schools. This event is supported very heartily by Pacific Motor Service, which has also provided internships for students and donated tools, equipment, and funds to support the automotive technology program. Special thanks to Kevin Donahoe for his longtime support. It makes a big difference in our ability to excel in this area. And our friends at the Monterey Peninsula Foundation Youth Fund support this effort as well by granting funds that go in the form of $1,000 scholarships to the winners. And this year, those honors went to 2 students at Watsonville High School. And our transfer students continue to shine as well. And I'm pleased to present here 2 recipients of the 2012 Matsui scholarships. Mr. Andy Matsui, who couldn't be here today, established his foundation in 2004, and each year that foundation awards a $40,000 scholarship to a graduating senior from each of the Monterey County comprehensive high schools, plus 20,000 scholarships to 2 transfer students from MPC and Hartnell. On the left on your screen, if I put it on there, and we're dead, oh, there we go, sorry, is Anna Marie Domino Cales, who was a re-entry student who had attempted college previously but had to stop out to care for family concerns. And I say stop out because they don't drop out. Students in community colleges come in and study, and then they have to stop out at times when life intervenes, and then they return. And Anna Marie is a great example of that. Now she has completed her lower division studies at MPC and will transfer to UC Santa Cruz to major in philosophy and English. And on the right is our other Matsui scholar, Monique Dodson, who is also a reentry student that needed to stop out to deal with family issues. And now she's completed her AA in Business Administration with honors and will transfer to CSUMB to major in Business Administration or Accountancy or Finance. She's not sure yet. And two other scholars who are represented with us are shown here. On the right is Rachel Rivera, the 2012 recipient of the Carl S. Piester Leadership Opportunity Award at UC Santa Cruz, yet another $20,000 scholarship. And Rachel intends to study sociology. And on the left is Victoria Wade, the 2012 recipient of the Baskin Foundation, a $20,000 scholarship supported by Peggy and Jack Baskin. Victoria is also transferring to UC Santa Cruz, majoring in marine biology with a minor in education. These four scholars represent not only dedicated students, but also wonderful examples of how philanthropy invests in the future of our communities. We have other transfer successes to share with you today as well, and they are as varied as the students at our college. Tanisha Sanders is a single mother and full-time student who is transferring to CSU Sacramento after completing an associate's degree in business administration. Tanisha represents the students at MPC who have family responsibilities and are assisted by programs like CARE and CalWorks, which are designed to facilitate student parents and their effort to reach for their particular educational goals. On the right is Andrew Young. Andrew represents our scholar athletes. He's a Monterey grad. He started at Cabrillo, didn't do as well as he would have liked, and then he transferred to MPC. And working with basketball coach Blake Spearing and accessing our support program, he has excelled. He's transferring now after earning his associate degree in social sciences with a GPA of 3.7. And by the way, he's pretty good at basketball too. He was selected to the All-State team for California Community Colleges. He led the state in rebounds and scoring, and he's transferring on a scholarship to Texas A&M. I fully expect to see the Aggies in March Madness next year. These 6 students demonstrate the range of people who succeed in our transfer program and then move on to four-year institutions. So for those scholars that I just noted, if you are here, please rise and give us a chance to congratulate you. This year also saw some significant changes in our leadership. 3 trustees were sworn in by District Attorney Flippo, incumbent Dr. Lauren Steck, who's now serving as board chair, and newcomers to the board, Marilyn Gustafson and Rick Johnson. Now, Marilyn's hardly a newcomer to MPC, having served for 9 years as the executive director of the foundation. But she and Rick are both in new roles, and they are quickly learning everything they need to do in order to be able to respond to the challenges that are faced in that position. We also installed new leadership in academic affairs with the appointment of Dr. Céline Pinet as our Vice President of Academic Affairs. Together, these dedicated people bring fresh energy and insight to strengthen the college. And we've continued progress on developing MPC as a multi-site college. Last year, I shared these architectural renderings with you to show you what we were developing at the Education Center in Marina. And now here is what it looks like. We dedicated the new facilities this past fall, and enrollment has grown now to 1,136 students at this particular site in Marina, a 7% gain over last spring. This project, along with the Public Safety Training Center in Seaside, represent MPC's commitment to the reuse plan of the former Fort Ord and to the economic development that's intended to come from that plan. The Marina facility is intended to be a gateway center, a smaller, more intimate setting where students with no college-going history will have the opportunity to begin their college studies in a comfortable, supportive environment and then move on later to complete their studies at the Monterey campus. Of course, we feel the Monterey campus is very inviting, if not park-like. But for a first-generation student, in other words, one who has no one at home who has ever gone to college before, coming on to a large campus and dealing with the complexities that are inherent to being successful in college can be very intimidating. So the intent is that with the Marina site, we provide a smaller alternative for people to choose if they wish to begin their educational journey and to facilitate their ultimate success. And of course, we've continued progress on our overall bond program as well. This is funded by Your wonderful generosity in 2002, Measure I, that provided us bond funds to do a complete reconstruction of our facilities. And with those funds, the college has been able to conduct a makeover of the Monterey campus and to build the sites in Seaside and Marina. Now, this chart I know you can't read, but what I wanted to do is just share with you that the areas indicated in blue are the projects that we are currently working on campus, and I want to share then some further images with you now. On the upper left, you see the view of the Humanities Supportive Services building, which, for those of you who know the campus, used to be admissions and records and counseling. Today, it's a brand new site for our supportive services program with the adaptive computing labs and the faculty offices for our humanities division. On the upper right, you see an image of the life science building, or the inside of one of their labs, which has been gutted and rebuilt from the inside out. This project will be done next month in June, and the faculty and staff will begin moving in. And it will essentially be a brand new facility with new classrooms and new laboratories. And as soon as that one is done, we'll then move on to the physical science building. On the lower right, you see work continuing on our theater, which is also being completely rebuilt. The new theater will be occupied in February 2013, with its first production scheduled in April 2013. Gary Boland's with us here today, and I'm sure he'll be chewing his fingernails in preparation for that, because things do have a matter of going wrong. On the lower left is an image of the shower locker rooms on the lower level of the gymnasium, scheduled to be completed in November of this year. And once that's done, we can then begin working on refurbishing the swimming pool. None of this work could be done without your support, and we thank you. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts, because it gives us the opportunity to be able to provide a facility that is up to the demands that you should indeed have of MPC. In fact, a great deal of what we accomplish is due to collaboration with our community. The Embrace program, which stands for Monterey Bay Regional Academy for Computing Education, is a collaboration with CSUMB, Naval Postgraduate School, and Hartnell College, and it provides internships for our computer science students in regional entities. And I might add that many of them end up getting hired after they've filled those internships. The Monterey County Business Council provides us an ongoing forum for examination of collaborative projects between the local higher education and research institution and our regional businesses. This year, we were very honored to be recognized by the Monterey Peninsula Chamber of Commerce with the 2012 Business Excellence Award in Education, an indication of our connections with the business community. In addition, we've expanded a very productive partnership with Access Monterey Peninsula, who is taping this event today and has taped many other college events throughout the past year for rebroadcast on AMP channels. We're very proud to be a part of their effort to promote the rich cultural life on the peninsula. All right, so we took a look back, and now let's take a look forward. And this handsome young man decided to help me. In light of the announcement that Lynn shared with you a moment ago, my intention to retire, I felt I should share some insight into what you can expect in the near future, and to show you that we have developed a blueprint that's intended to ensure MPC's continued success. As you know, California faces a continued fiscal challenge, and therefore so does MPC. The state is now projecting a $15 billion deficit for the coming year that could indicate a loss of revenue of $3 million to MPC. We are actively working with every group on campus to develop, just as we did last year, a complex response to a complex problem. The governor has proposed a tax initiative to provide greater support to education. Its fate is directly related to the fate of the college and to our planning, since the absence of the related resources will necessitate a further reduction in our full-time equivalent students and make choices of what to continue, what to reduce, and perhaps even what to eliminate, even tougher than they have been in the past. And there are other challenges that are on the horizon as well. The legislature has directed us to focus on basic skills, career and technical education, and transfer education, which may seem like a very broad mission, but it actually represents a narrowing of the scope of our offerings. It places lifelong learning as a secondary function. Accompanying that narrowing are greater limits on the number of times students can enroll in a course and the number of units that can be supported by financial aid. And there have been proposals for changing the funding mechanisms for community colleges as well, changes that may indeed further narrow our flexibility. If you've followed any of my comments in the Herald on these changes, you know that I have very grave concerns about many of them. But rest assured, we will respond as well as possible to change these apparent lemons into lemonade. How? Well, with all these storm clouds brewing, we recognize the need to step back and to review our education master plan to provide a blueprint for the next few years. The process has been underway all academic year and will be presented to the governing board in the very near future. That process has included examinations of both internal and external resources, such as the Competitive Clusters Report by the Monterey County Business Council and the Stanford Research Institute's report on economic opportunities in Monterey County. In addition to the core mission of providing lower division instruction for transfer to baccalaureate institutions, here are 7 strategic initiatives that outline that plan. The first of them is Basic Skills Success. This is an initiative that's intended to promote greater percentages of student success. I think you all know that we have a very high number of students who come to MPC, as all community colleges do, underprepared for the rigors of college life. And we spend considerable resources trying to ensure that they can be successful over time. So this initiative will engage us much more directly with our local high schools to examine the connection points between the Common Core standards for graduation at the high school and the entry-level standards at the college, and then on campus to enhance the support services necessary in order to ensure that these people have got the greatest chance for success possible. Enhanced career and technical education represents our commitment to provide relevant and timely training for students to begin or enhance their careers. The Continuing Education Initiative represents a response to state-imposed enrollment limits. MPC enjoys, as I think many of you know, a very large following of people who are lifelong learners, people who enjoy the experience of learning for its own sake rather than for the sake of a transcript. The state is making it increasingly difficult to serve this population in traditional classes, and so we are developing a continuing education program that will meet these needs through a fee-based format that will prove to be very flexible. And by the way, we are not eliminating GenTrain. We never intended to. It will probably become a part of the continuing education program, but actually that will give an opportunity for actual expansion compared to what we were able to do today. The next initiative, Monterey Fort Ord Education Center Development, may sound different to you because we generally refer to the Public Safety Training Center in Seaside and to the Education Center in Marina. But to the state of California, those facilities, those sites collectively are known as the Fort Ord Education Center. We are committed to enhancing the college as a multi-site institution, as I said before, as a part of our response to the reuse plan for the former Fort Ord. This effort is going to continue through not only the development further of the sites at Seaside and Marina, but also through acquisition of additional properties at Parker Flats and the MOUT facility. And MOUT stands for Military Operations on Urban Terrain. Both of those two latter sites will enhance our ability to provide much needed advanced training to our first responder communities throughout this region in California. We also have strategic initiatives to expand our international student program and our MPC on Loan program. These two programs offer long-term opportunities for the college to grow and enhance the variety of ways that students can access education. And finally, our technology sustainability plan, which is going to come up, there it is, recognizes that technology is changing incredibly rapidly, and that as a result, our methods of teaching and learning need to be changing as well. We have to stay abreast with these changes and structure our support systems in such a way that we can meet these challenges. Collectively, these initiatives provide the area of focus for our immediate planning, and you can count on the transfer core and these 7 issues as being the primary blueprint for the next several years. So what else is coming? Well, diminishing state support. So what do you do in response to that? It requires for us to be able to find different ways to reach our goals, such as increased reliance on collaboratives. So you take collaboration and you turn it into a noun, and what do you got? You got institutionalized collaborative relationships. And we have quite a number of them, and we need to become ever more dependent upon them in order to reach our goals. We already have a very well recognized one with our partner, the Community Hospital of Monterey Peninsula, with a 25-year history with the Marine Church Coburn School of Nursing. Through this partnership, the college and the hospital have been able to collaborate for mutual benefit. And that's the key to an effective collaborative, mutual benefit. These collaborative arrangements have to be structured in such a way that the participating institutions are participating in mutual gain. And when we do that, we're able to leverage our resources. We have others in place as well. We're partnering right now with First Five of Monterey County by way of a multi-year grant that aims to increase the number of early childhood education graduates, a program that has already increased ECE majors by 132% this year alone. Another collaborative that's been very successful is our work with the Department of Veteran Affairs and other providers of veteran services in this region. By offering MPC as a central location for the deliverance of those various services to vets, whether they're enrolled at MPC or not, we have created an environment where vets feel very comfortable on campus. They feel comfortable coming to receive services. And yes, as a result, our veteran enrollment has grown tremendously, now counting to over 1,000 veteran enrollments each year. And we were very pleased this year to be notified that we are designated a military-friendly college by the GI Jobs magazine. And another collaborative involves our membership in the South Bay Regional Public Safety Training Consortium, a group of 9 colleges that leverage resources to provide a broad expanse of public safety training, recognizing that if we share the costs, we all benefit. And another collaborative that will come soon is membership in the Hispanic Association of Colleges and University, which makes us eligible to be an Hispanic Serving Institution, or an HSI. This designation, in particular with the federal government, will make MPC eligible for significant grants that will support the development and expansion of programs on campus and in Marina. And this latter designation as an HSI has come as the result of concerted efforts to make certain that our college has become increasingly more diverse over the last several years. With the reduction in state support, we also realize that we need to be more entrepreneurial in our endeavors. To that end, we are examining a number of different options, including an agreement for management of the Mout with a firm known as Air Rescue Systems. This firm specializes in highly technical public safety training and is far more prepared to manage a complex site like that than we are alone as a college. This partnership will generate revenue through provision of domestic and international training at a very unique and highly technical facility. And we're also working with our partners at CSUMB to bring international students to the peninsula for a community college through baccalaureate degree program with specific areas of interest, for instance, computer science and international business. A recent USA Today study indicated that the number of international students nationally is on the rise, and we feel that Monterey offers a unique environment for hosting international study. Both of these efforts will bring economic development, not only to the institutions involved, but also to the area, because the people coming in, again, will be buying goods and services and will be contributing to our overall economic development. And we cannot do all of this without strong partners. Pictured here are a few of the partners that we have worked with through grants this year to achieve specific goals ranging from support for a sunscreen for children at the Child Development Center, to equipment for smart classrooms at the Marina Education Center, to new seating at the baseball stadium, and to scholarships. We thank all of our partners, are incredibly grateful for your investment in the quality of Monterey Peninsula College. And of course, partnering with the college throughout it all is our wonderful foundation. At your table is a copy of the 2011 Annual Report to the Community, which includes information on the Foundation's achievements in support of our commitment to changing lives. And when I speak to groups, I often tell them firstfold, we are here as an institution, our business is changing lives, one person at a time, and we take that very seriously. Through the President's Circle, the Campus Circle, endowments, annual giving, and the Legacy Society, the Foundation, as Lynn has shared with you already, has raised over $800,000 this year toward meeting the needs of the college. I'm sure Robin Venuti, our Executive Director, and the Foundation reps at your table would be very happy to talk to you about further opportunities. Can't help it. And finally, as Lynn mentioned to you, I want to also announce that MPC is about to celebrate its 65th anniversary. On October 6th, we'll be holding an open house on the Monterey campus in conjunction with the rapidly growing and very energetic Alumni Association. This day-long event is intended to bring the community on campus and to give young and old an opportunity to visit classes and labs, to see demonstrations and performances, to hear Gen-trained lectures, to meet old friends, and I hope to make some new friends, and maybe join the Alumni Association. Mark the date, please. Watch for information on the 65th anniversary. I think it's going to be a really very, very special day. Well, that's it, folks. To paraphrase and to apologize to Garrison Keeler and a Prairie Home companion, that's the news from MPC, where all the faculty and staff are dedicated, the community is supportive, and all the students are above average, despite the mathematical impossibility of, in fact, doing that. Thank you very much for the support to the college. Thank you for your attentive listening. Thank you. And now we come to the best part of the program, the part when I shut up. Each year at the President's Address, we present the President's Award, which acknowledges that a quality community college can only thrive with strong community support. We honor a person who has played a key role in development of the college and the community. Your program lists the past recipients, a very, very impressive list. And this year, the President's Award goes, for the first time, to a couple, Kip and Jay Hudson. Kip and Jay have demonstrated a long-standing commitment to education, to Monterey Peninsula College, to involvement in community affairs, and to not just talking about something, but acting. Through their involvement with the nursing school, the MPC Foundation, support of RotoCare, and lifelong learning, they have demonstrated why they should be honored with the 2012 President's Award. As we have each year, we are very fortunate to enjoy the creative talents of Macaneva Productions, who have been tasked with telling the story of why Kip and Jay deserve this wonderful recognition. Join me now in learning more.
My mom and dad, they are Kip and Jay. I mean, it's like one word.
It's Kip and Jay. It's never Kip, it's never Jay, it's Kip and Jay. And their idea of a good time is giving back to the community.
Even though they have done a lot of things individually, you still recognize that Kip and Jay brand, if that's what you want to call it.
But they don't really seek out the limelight. They don't want to be noticed. And I think a lot of what makes them happy is when they're involved in an organization just as a donor or a participant at an activity. And it's a really well-run organization. And if they see something that's not running the right way, they're going to give it a little nudge somehow.
They support each other in what they do, and they've really got a very common vision. They have a very good way of allowing others to step up as they sort of, very quietly step aside. That's ultimately a real good trait of a leader.
I grew up in Oakland, went to public schools, and ended up at Oakland Tech High, which was a wonderful high school.
Oh, here's a good one.
And Jay, meanwhile, was growing up in Oakland. I didn't know him. He went to Oakland High and went on to Cal.
My family was really all in healthcare. My sister's a nurse, my dad was a pharmacist, and so when I was undergraduate at Berkeley, thought, well, maybe I should think about hospital administration, because it was a fairly new career at the time.
We were both at Cal the same years, didn't know each other right away, but both of us were working for the Oakland Recreation Department as a part-time job while we were students, and we found each other there.
I went in the Air Force and was commissioned as a lieutenant in the Medical Service Corps as a hospital administrator. Then back at Berkeley to get my master's degree in hospital administration. And then in 1968 had an opportunity to come down to the Monterey Peninsula and work with Tom Tonkin at Community Hospital. And then I was the CEO from 90 to 99 and retired, but stayed on and was on the board of trustees for several years, and then finally decided I would do something else.
And during his tenure at Community Hospital, he was really instrumental in the continued nurturing and growth of the Maureen Church Coburn School of Nursing at Monterey Peninsula College. So Jay always has been interested in what's the best thing for the community. When I assumed the position of hospital president in 1999, I had very limited experience, obviously, in running an enterprise of this size. And for a number of years, Jay and I met on a very regular basis. We'd sit down in this room and we'd close the door and he mentored me. And Jay never ever said, you should do this or you must do that, but would just kind of lay out what the history was and then let me take my own course. And that's a hard thing to do. And what I think is great is what a great team they are. You know, Jay and Kip together really complement each other in the community.
That was the Monterey City Council. I was the observer for the League of Women Voters. I kind of went more into politics and campaigning and community things. And it'd be school board races and supporting candidates. Well, this is a community store.
Kip and I first met, I think in 1968. She was always involved in one way or another, you know, whether it was the schools, the planning commission, of course the MPC Foundation. She was, I think, the first president and still is involved with that. And when Leon Panetta first ran for Congress in '76, I volunteered and Kip volunteered at that time, and we did a little bit of everything.
We go way, way back. There was a young attorney here in town who was going to run for Congress, and I had just met Kip at a dinner party, and I was so flattered that they asked me to be on this committee. My biggest concern was how to explain to my parents that I was working for a Democrat.
With both Mary and Kathy, we really came together in Leon Panetta's first campaign, and that was just so important in my life. And so, I didn't realize I was still emotional about it. It was such a good thing. Things like that kind of change your life.
What I remember about Kip, as I know of her now, is her desire to help, and when she does say she'll help, she's there, and she follows through, and she does it well.
I remember campaigning for Leon and my mom and stuffing envelopes, and it was a great opportunity to kind of get involved when we were learning about civics.
And it was neat to be part of the whole process, the envelope stuffing, just really being part of the entire process.
And then afterward, being able to look back and say, hey, we did something, we achieved something. That's our guy back there.
I was really focused on Monterey, so in 1983 I ran for council, and I lost. And talk about changing your life. Fortunately, talk about things that changed. I got a phone call from Judge Pat, and he asked if I would be available for the Monterey County Grand Jury, and I said, yes, I'm available. What else am I going to do? I no sooner got off that than someone asked me if I'd be interested in a job at the Monterey College of Law doing legal education for the communities. But that wouldn't have happened probably if I had done what I thought I wanted to do, which was be on the council. So there you go.
I would say my mom is the eternal optimist. She's always very, very excited about successes of others. My dad, I think that he shares that same optimism, and it's a little more subtle and perhaps tempered with a little more reality. Maybe some of that's been a lifelong Cal Bears fan.
Well, when you're a Cal football fan, you have to have a good sense of humor.
So for us, education was always a given. The first 12 years was something you got through to be able to get to college. It was an opportunity that they always wanted to make available, and they wanted to make sure it was available to us, and I think through MPC to everyone else.
There's no question that in a democracy, education is just paramount. And having a 2-year community college, it's crucial. Not everyone can go or can afford to go or has the time to go to a 4-year school. As far as MPC specifically, I was very proud to be part of the founding group in the early 90s when Caroline Page, who was a trustee at the college, felt the time was right to establish a foundation to assist the college. And she assembled 9 people, and I was very proud to be one of them. I was president for a couple of years, and I just feel so good when I see how strong it has grown, how many people have been involved, and the other thing that has come about also that I had nothing to do with, but I'm delighted to see it, is the strong alumni association.
The first thing I think I remember was involved in with MPC was probably the accreditation committee. And of course, the Maureen Church Coburn School of Nursing was an enormous thing that the hospital was involved in. Late 70s, early 80s, there was this terrible nursing shortage. I mean, everybody was sort of in a panic. We actually brought nurses over from Ireland. So Tom Tonkin talked to Met Coburn, and they then talked to MPC and said, well, if we give this endowment to the college, will you start a school of nursing? As it turns out to be a very, very successful program, and it has an extraordinary pass rate on the licensing exam. So we've, over years, have hired a huge number of MPC nurses from the Coburn School of Nursing. And we'll look at when they had that bond issue, how successful that was. That was one of the fastest little campaigns. I think it was in July that we got together the committee, and Jim Tunney headed it up. And November, it was an astounding, I think it was like over 70% voted for those bonds, and everybody's really proud of that. I mean, it's just, you walk on that campus, and it's just amazing what's going on. When people say, well, gee, I didn't have the opportunity to go to college because I was doing this or that, that's not true. Everybody has an opportunity in California, and that's where community colleges played a huge role.
And we've got to maintain the reasonable progression, stair steps between middle school and high school and college. The junior college is critical.
It's good for everybody. That's the point. It's not just good for that individual student, but that person that's educated and has that opportunity, then it's good for the overall community. I probably never would have gone to college without MPC being there.
Well, it's certainly been important to me personally through the years, simply because I've taken a lot of classes there.
I think my mom has basically gone through the entire course catalog at MPC herself.
I've met people through the classes that I maybe wouldn't have met otherwise. And so a community college is a place of community, of coming together.
That campus is one of the best campuses. That school is one of the best schools. Our 3 sons went there, and they studied there and then transferred on to the UC system. And we felt that they got a wonderful foundation there.
A community college is one of the greatest inventions in education. And as a country, as a community, we need everybody to pitch in to help revive our education system.
You couldn't pick 2 better people to honor in terms of education. They're the type of people who, after the kids graduated, were still involved in the schools. They care about the next generation and the generation after that.
They show their concern for what is happening in their community by getting in and doing something about it.
They're so respected in the community. If they agree to be on a committee, it says this committee's okay, this project's okay, this bond measure's okay. And if they're on there together, then it's a double stamp of approval.
It's a great story of 2 very, very normal people.
Please welcome to the stage Kip and Jay Hudson. Kip and Jay, it's my great honor to present to you the 2012 President's Award, signified by a maquette of the Norma Lewis statue Connections, which is installed in the Caroline Page Garden in front of the MPC Library. This award recognizes the many contributions that you both have made to Monterey Peninsula College, the Marine Church Coburn School of Nursing, the MPC Foundation, and to the pursuit of education throughout our communities. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in recognizing the 2012 President Award recipients, Kip and Jay Hudson.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, MPC, the MPC Foundation, Robin Venuti, and your whole crew for putting on something like this that I do believe is wonderful for the community. And what a thrill to be a part of it, a small part, a part of it, a big part of it. There was a movie. And the and the other thank you to Terry DeBono and Steve Rosen, Mac and Ava Productions. They just do it. We had never seen that before. People thought we were going to see it ahead of time. We didn't. So I'm a little teary-eyed. But because I'm the lady and I get to go first, I get to introduce our family to you. And so would the Truckee Hudson stand up? This is this is our son Bill, his wife, who you saw in the movie, his wife Casey, our grandson Brooks, and granddaughter Anna. Now will the Mill Valley Hudson stand up? And again, you saw in the film our son John, his wife Jan, our granddaughters Jessica and Maureen, and we're so excited and thrilled that they're here to share this moment. And I am just going to take one moment to try to express a thought that has occurred to me over the last couple of weeks, and certainly today as I see so many familiar faces, that there are people that an awful lot of you people, we came together doing one of these projects or causes, if you will, for the community, whether it be a campaign, whether it be the school carnival, boards of directors trying to get organizations formed, and your lifelong friends, and I am very grateful for that. I think it's sort of wonderful when people come together to accomplish something that no one could do on their own, and that's what it's all about. Thank you very much.
This beautiful piece of sculpture, as I look out, as Kip did, over the room and all the friends and associates we've worked together over time, we like to share this with everybody in the room. You're all leaders, you're all winners. Thank you for what you do each and every day. And this is much nicer than the Scream. Dr. Garrison actually stole some of my stuff.
Uh-oh.
But he can because he's the guy. A couple of things at MPC that I was just reflecting about, and one of the ones, of course, dear to my heart is the Coburn School of Nursing. And if you look back, what's 25 plus years, at the time, of course, it was a huge shortage of nurses, and as we go forward with all of the population getting a little bit older, we're going to need more and more nursing to help us with, and that's just a really important thing to have in this college and in this community. And I think the faculty at that School of Nursing is the finest you'll find anywhere. The other, I was going to just comment on the 2002 bond issue. Again, it was in July. Jim Tunney took up to the chair, and in the words of the famous politician or pundit, James Carville, he rounded up the usual suspect, and we got to work on that campaign. And also the Peninsula College Foundation was a big part of that, helping getting that passed. And the campus, I think, today is in better physical shape than it's ever been. It's just absolutely fabulous, and that's a real booster. But nothing is better than a leader like Doug Garrison to boost the morale. And really, it's a wonderful meshing of things when you have a leader like Doug. We wish you well, and thank you again for your leadership.
Thank you to Kip and Jay and Dr. Garrison and all our guests today for participating in the 6th Annual President's Address to the community. If you are parked in one of the city garages, it's free parking day, thanks to the City of Monterey. If that doesn't work, call the mayor directly. Thanks to all of you for joining us. We appreciate your attendance. Thank you very much.